In Tampa, Florida, where the GOP convention is going to be held, strip clubs have been preparing for a spike in business. Kristen, I'm imagining this is the delegates and not the politicians. What say you?
Oh, I would say it's both. I mean, I think the problem is just symptomatic of what we think about our politicians in society. And that's, we perceive them to be perfect, and they make mistakes, they have vices, they're just normal men like any other men.
And Dr. Frank, is there an entitlement amongst politicians that makes them feel insulated against transgressions?
I don't think there is in particular. I think I agree with what you just said about that we hold politicians up to a higher standard and we forget that they are men. And there's lots of men. I mean, the biggest money that's made, according to the same article I read, is in the Super Bowl weekend. And that's not politicians at all. And there's tons of transgressions, and that makes sense to me. It's not like it's only politicians.
So to speculate that these injuries that these men have suffered in their childhood end up being narcissistic injuries, and they feel sort of, you know, special as a result, Dr. Frank?
Well, I've treated a lot of people who have narcissistic injuries, and they don't all end up exactly the same way. They're very different. So I think it's really hard to generalize. So I would rather not generalize. One of the things I can generalize about is that alcohol disinhibits people. And if they drink, they're more likely to do things that they might not otherwise do if they were not drinking.
Certainly that's true.
That I can say for
sure.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that. Now, Kristen, you're there, though, interacting with these folks. Do you have the same point of view?
You know, I think a lot of it is a power issue, primarily. They're in a position of power, and they wield that power. They have people to cover up their indiscretions, and then people to spin them when they do come out. And then the only way that it really becomes problematic is when their enemies have more money to highlight them. So I think it's a power play for me.